Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Scorpio in October 2020. What's going on, Scorpio? How are you guys doing? I hope you are doing well. All right, friends, off the bat, happy birthday to you early Scorpios who will be celebrating at the end of this month. No matter if your birthday is in October or November, I hope you guys have an amazing special day. Hopefully, if you are celebrating, please do so safely. And I hope that if you are around people, that they love you and treat you well, and that you just have a great time, because 2020 has been a hell of a ride for everybody. So anyway, guys, happy birthday to you. Also, happy Halloween if you're going to be celebrating on that day. If your birthday is on Halloween, that's interesting. Like, is it the same? This is such a weird question. Is it the same for like people who like have their birthday on Christmas, like the Capricorns who have their birthday on Christmas? Is it the same for Scorpios who have their birthday on Halloween? Like, your shit just gets like outshined by the holiday? Or are you like happy? Are you like, yay, it's Halloween and it's my birthday? That's interesting. I've never thought about that until this very moment, I don't think. Maybe I did. Maybe I thought about that last year. I don't remember. Anyway, guys, let's get into it. Scorpio, anything you want from me, it is already in the description box. If you want the timestamp, it is down there. You can use it to jump ahead to when the reading begins. You can find the information you need if you want to get a personal reading with me. That also is down there. Please feel free to email me at the address that you see listed there and ask me a question before you place an order if you have one. You can use the links down below as well for the Cash App and the PayPal to do donations if you're interested in that. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, the name is EmpathicFire Tarot, but there is a link directly to it in the description box as well, okay? And again, guys, it is 2020. It's been the year of everything, right? So please continue to take very good care of yourselves and those that you know and love. Please be safe, all right? Let's get into it. Let's go ahead and do this. For Scorpio, please, in October 2020. I want to see the outcome for Scorpio in October 2020. Outcome for Scorpio in October 2020. Please show me. All right, something flipped, right? Yes, it did. Oh, twofer. Aren't you a lucky duck? So, move this over here. Squeeze on down, people. Oh, boy. Talk about repeating energies, huh? October has been an interesting month for the readings, friends. Excuse me. And bottom of the deck is the overall energy for you guys. That's not... this is crooked and it's going to drive me nuts. Okay. And we'll flip this card over as it came face down. All right. Let's see what's shaking, eh? Please show me where Scorpio is in in October 2020. Please show me Scorpio in October 2020. Please show me. Okay. Kind of yelled that at me. They were very, insistent, but it got the point across, so they did what they were supposed to do. All right, so here we go, Scorpio. Coming into October, you come in with the energy of the Two of Wands. Back at it, huh? Yeah, this feels like familiar territory. I feel like you've been here before in this decision point. That's not for everybody. That's for, some of you. That you are facing turning points, crossroads, decisions, choices that you've gone over before. Like, you've been in a very similar situation like this before, some of you. Others of you, this is... Yeah, I mean, we've all had decision points and turning points and all that stuff in our lives, so it's not unique to just Scorpios, but I feel there's a portion of this energy that has been here more recently than not. Others of you, it's been a while, but, it's still familiar to you. Like, oh, here I go again, or here comes this pivotal point in my life again, or another pivotal point in my life, right? So I think Scorpio, yeah, for that other group that hasn't been here recently, you see how this guy, he's kind of emerging from these bushes, or this person, doesn't have to be a man, but this person is emerging from these bushes with a walking stick, and they're approaching the crossroads. It's like you've been possibly on hiatus, possibly doing and having a different focus in your life, maybe a distraction, but it feels like you were actually doing things. So it does. So why am I saying this? It feels like some of you were doing other things for other people, or you were concentrated on something else that really kind of made you forget that this was happening or that this was upcoming for you. Let's say it that way. So some of you got distracted, got busy, were taking care of other responsibilities or obligations, and now you have to emerge from wherever you were, whatever you were doing, and come back here. And that, for some of you, where it was like a hiatus, like you spent, like some of you, a couple of years away from whatever this Two of Wands moment is, whatever this Two of Wands decision is for you guys. I feel, Scorpio, that the Two of Wands is a problem for you. It's a problem because I think you don't know what you want. I think that, you know, as much as you can kind of see the roads clearly in this card, I think in your actual life, you might not be able to see those roads too clearly. Or if you are able to see, you're kind of like, well, which one do I really want? Because what do we see here? What's on this card? Yeah, so the road to the left, there's a big mountain range in the distance, and there's a deer over there, a buck over there, and then the other one, there's like a lower, on the right hand side, there's a lower mountain, but the road is a little more squiggly. But you know, I think even if you have details about whatever it is you're choosing to do, or choosing between, or where you want to go next in your life, you might have those details. Maybe that's it. Maybe you can see kind of clearly what is lying in front of you, and maybe neither is ideal, or they both have pros and cons, but you can't make a decision. It feels super stuck. And I think it's partially for that group that was on hiatus. You gotta become reacclimated to this. Like, you gotta recalibrate yourself. You gotta like get yourself ready you gotta get ready. You have to get yourself ready to make a decision. Right. Something like that. Others of you, you've been staring at this pathway. You've been staring at these this fork in the road for a minute, and you're like, but I like what's on the right, but I also like what's on the left. But I really like what's going on the right. Like, that looks good too. But I also like what's going on the left. That also looks good. And I feel like in some of your cases, the benefits, or the whatever the pros are, there are cons, of course, but I don't know that they're really. I think you're kind of aware of the cons. It's like the pros have to win this. Like, maybe that's it. Like, Scorpio, I feel most of you in this energy, you're logical, you're sound of mind, right? You understand that every choice comes with pros and cons, right? But I don't know that the cons really factor into what you're thinking about. I feel like you're more like, what are the pros? Like, what can I really expect to get out of this? What can I really expect to be the benefit of whatever thing I'm choosing between? Or whichever way I'm choosing to go in my life, whatever avenue I'm choosing to walk down, you know what I mean? Like, if it was literally about travel, if you had to go somewhere, move somewhere, you know, one place, like, let's say you're moving, right? It could be, well, one place I'm looking at, the rent is kind of low, but the walking in the city is great. Like, it's a great little neighborhood and everything like that. So it's low rent. It's got a great walking thing, walk score, something like that. Maybe that's important to you, but it sucks because now it's going to be 50 minutes away from work. And then the other place I'm looking at, that's 20 minutes away from work, the walk score isn't that bad, and the rent is a little bit higher, but there's that extra 30 minutes I'm going to get that I don't have to commute to work. It's something like that. Both have things that you like. One place, it's a quicker commute, the rent isn't that high, and you still can get a little bit of what you want, but like the sites aren't the best, right? And then you go to the other place, the rent is even lower, and the walk score is amazing, but that commute is going to kill you. You see what I mean? So it's like, you need to live somewhere, but you can't decide what weighs more importantly to you. The neighborhood, how like pleasant it is to walk around, what the locality is like, what the local grocery store is like, what the schools are like there, versus the shitty commute, or the worst commute. You know what I mean? Or the better commute, I should say, the better commute. right? So it's like the pros are really what are going to sway you here. That's very interesting. I'm picking up on that. So what else happens? Yes. Well, it's complicated. They're saying it's complicated, and so that's the other thing. This is going to be more complicated than just choosing between the pros. I mean, it's not to say you're not thinking about cons or you're not thinking about things that aren't the benefit in the situation. You are, but I think you really want to be sold on like the good value of what you're going towards. Like, what is the true value here? What can I expect upon making this decision? What exactly is going to come to me that's going to be knocking my socks off, so to speak. It's like you want your own choice to wow you. That's interesting. You want your own choice to wow you. Or whatever you choose, you want it to have that wow factor. Let's say it that way, I guess. All right. So, what else is happening here? Well, okay. Why are you worried? What is there to worry about? I mean, it's like isolated. It seems partially for some of you in the past, but you do have this Nine of Swords coming up behind. I'm considering this to be behind the Two of Swords because, again, if you look at how it's oriented, thank you, on the table, how I was telling you this person is emerging from like this bushy area, like this foresty area. It's like this is what you're coming out of. You're coming out of the Nine of Swords. So it's behind you. So what were you worried about or still worried about? Some of you, you're still in this energy or it's residual. It still like crops up every once in a while. I mean, okay, that could be it. Like if you literally are moving, if you're literally making like a life decision, where to move, what job to take, whether to pursue a certain dream or a certain relationship, whatever you're deciding, right? You could have been worried about that because it's life altering, right? If I'm going to pick up and move across the country for this job or this opportunity of a job, if I'm going to move to an entirely different country, but I don't know the language, there's all these like, what happens once I do the thing? What happens once I make this change, right? Or make this decision rather. And it feels, yes, interesting. That's very, I don't think I've mentioned this before. I feel, Scorpio, some of you were really like turned off from your intuition. And I see it twice here. I see 2 times you have ignored your intuition. You don't trust your gut. You second guess yourself. And that adds to whatever anxiety you have been feeling or were feeling, right? And I see it twice in this card. Once because we've got this owl perched up out the window. And this owl's like, hoo, girl. Like, look at me. Like, I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to give you a hint here. I'm trying to give you some clues. I'm trying to give you some clues. Okay? And then you see the crescent moon up there. It's not a full moon. So the potential of your natural intuition in tarot is, for me, I usually signal in on it much more when the moon is full, when we see a full moon. This is a crescent moon, so part of the moon is obscured. Part of your intuition has been obscured. You haven't listened to it. You haven't connected to it. Maybe you didn't even think about it, right? So this Nine of Swords, for some of you, you're still here. In many cases, you're not here anymore, but it still crops up every once in a while. Like some of you possibly have, could be that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So remember I said some of you were on hiatus. You went away for a while. You did something, you worked on something, or you took care of something. You paid attention to other obligations or responsibilities. Some of you went away to deal with this, anxiety. Why am I saying that? Because again, this person emerging out of this foresty area in the Two of Wands, arriving to this decision point in the Two of Wands. Now, I say that also because I'm sensing from this owl is not only a part of your intuition. Your owl in this card is symbolic of like a counselor. So some of you went to therapy to deal with your anxiety, to deal with your issues over whatever it is you have issues about. I don't know I can really, it could be insomnia. So maybe it wasn't a therapist. Maybe you went for a sleep study. Maybe you went to see a specialist because you literally were not able to sleep. Maybe some of you are dealing with PTSD, right? and that was preventing you from making sound level decisions for yourself. Maybe you felt incapable. And so before you were to decide any great new pathways for yourself, before you got there, you're like, I really got to go back and fix whatever's wrong with me, or deal with whatever's wrong with me before I can make such a huge decision, right? So if you're moving, I really feel a lot of you are like moving homes, moving or changing jobs, changing careers, possibly totally new industries. In a few of your cases, it is a relationship thing, but it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a prioritizing certain relationships over others, right? It could be, right? Okay, there's one. And this is just an example. But this is something that people truly go through, or especially if you were in some type of counseling, or especially if you felt sort of, I feel this Nine of Swords was really a barrier for many of you. And I feel like it was something going on with you personally. Like you had to do this work, or you had to explore whatever this issue was. And the thing that popped into my mind is, again, choosing in relationships, it does not have to be romantic. Let's say you have children, a child, 15 children, I don't care how many, and you want to do right by your kids. Maybe you've struggled to be a good parent to them, male or female, I don't care. Adoptive kids, biological kids, I don't care. Foster children, I don't care what the status is. And you want to be a good mom or dad, right? A good parent. You could have struggled to prioritize your children if you were dating, right? Let's say you're a single parent, and for whatever reason, it doesn't even have to be because of any, salacious reasons or any tragic reasons. You're just a single parent, period. You're dating someone, or you're dating people, and it's hard to reconcile that life plus your responsibilities as a parent. So if you're a single dad, for whatever reason, again, it doesn't matter, and you've got kids at home who need you, but you kind of think, well, my kids need a mother, or my kids need another person, so let me go find someone. Someone felt bad about pursuing relationships with dating potential partners because their kids didn't get all of their time, something like that. Whether or not that's true, whether or not that's right or wrong, quote unquote, right or wrong, I don't know. But it feels like that. It feels like somebody feels like they neglected relationships of a certain type, of a certain priority in their life, because they were possibly, in their mind, being selfish. Now, in that particular scenario, why would someone feel guilty? Like someone might be hearing the story of another person, like, why would you feel guilty? It's totally natural if you're a single parent to date and, explore that side of your life. However, think of it this way. And this is just an example. I'm not predicting anything, I don't think, and I'm not trying to tell a specific story. But you see this all the time, where you might have a widower or a widow, where their partner, their spouse or whoever died tragically, or left, in some type of way, and they were abandoned or something like that, right? And it's been, and that's what it's like that. In that particular case, it feels like maybe somebody is guilty because I don't want to hurt the memory of my departed spouse. I don't want to offend my children. I don't want to get my children introduced to somebody and then it doesn't work out. There's a lot of reasons why someone would feel anxious and worried about pursuing other relationships, again, dating, when they have relationships, connections with their children that they're responsible for, that they have to prioritize in their life. You see what I mean? So again, the choice in relationships doesn't have to be choosing between two people. Okay? I needed that to be thoroughly explained because, I think a lot of times people come to tarot and they think like all the relationships that a tarot reader is mentioning are romantic. No, especially for me, I will beat it to death. Not everything that you see in a tarot reading by me is going to be related to romance. If it is, I'm going to tell you. So that's what I sense is going on here. Someone has gone and focused on this anxiety, focused on this PTSD thing, focused on this depression. If it wasn't depression, it was just you had so many other things going on that you couldn't come to make a decision here. So maybe you had a big decision coming up in your career, but you had family obligations. Maybe somebody in your family fell ill. Maybe you went through your own little bout of depression. Maybe you had financial constraints over here. Maybe there was an emergency that, you were ready to quit that job, but then all of a sudden, oh no, you had like damage to your car, damage to your home, and then you had to pay all this stuff to get it repaired. And so you weren't financially set up to move to a new home anymore, or move across town, or move across the country, whatever. All that had to be taken care of before you got back here. You understand? Okay, so what else happens for Scorpio? Yeah. Some of you guys had to pay some stuff. Yes. Some of you guys had to pay out. Straight up. Six of Pentacles. This has come out a few times, I think, for the collective. Six of Pentacles this month. So a lot of people are, setting their debts right and getting things taken care of financially. So I do sense still like that storyline of people depend on you. It doesn't have to be your children, by the way. You could be childless and still be in this I feel guilty going into a dating scenario or seeking other types of connections because maybe you have other relatives that depend on you. Maybe you have, maybe it's your animals. Who cares? It doesn't really matter what type of relationship it is. So I feel like some of you paid a lot of your time, energy, and effort, and in some cases a lot of money in another relationship or in another connection, and that needed to be squared away, right? So for some of you, you had to, I did say for some of you, it has been years. So again, there's like another storyline coming in here where maybe you had an ailing parent or other relative that needed your help financially because they, maybe they were in an accident, maybe they were put on disability, and maybe they didn't have enough to keep themselves afloat. So you picked up an extra job, and who the hell wants to be dating when you're working a full-time job and a part-time job and you're kicking money towards your parents' medical bills? Like, that doesn't equal sexy time. That doesn't equal I'm ready to, be romantically involved with somebody. I got a lot on my plate. So that's what this feels like. You, at some point, Scorpio, had a lot on your plate, or you do right now. Some of you are living in this situation right now, and you just don't have enough to go around. Your time, your energy, your effort, your money is solidly dedicated to certain channels, and that's it. You don't have time to think about your career, so you spent 2-3 years working really hard to save up money so that you could think about new moves in your career. You had to pay back maybe some of you were in severe debt, something like that. Maybe you were paying the debt of another person. Maybe you, I don't know what your reasoning is, but it was you decided to divvy your time, energy, effort, and money up the way you did to make it work. Make it work, right? Tim Gunn, Project Runway. I don't know why. I always, sometimes I think, because I say things and I know where the reference is, and I'm like, I didn't say that. Tim Gunn says that in that way. Make it work, right? But anyway, or maybe some of you have spent a lot of time watching Project Runway recently. I have no idea. Designers. Anyway, so you decidedly spent your time, money, effort, and energy the way you wanted to, the way you felt was necessary to get you back to this decision point, which you know is very crucial and critical in your life. A lot of you, this is like big, like future, like what am I about to do next? Like what's the next phase of my life? What's the next chapter in my life? Which path, if this was like a book, it's like a choose your own adventure, right? And am I going to go left? Am I going to go right? What is the potential story that I'm setting up for myself? What is the potential next part of, what do you call that? The plot line. What's the next plot line I'm going to walk towards? Some of you, maybe it's like going back to school. Maybe you've been in the professional sector for so long and you've kind of been like capped, or you've reached a ceiling. You don't have much, not that you don't have earning potential, but you've kind of capped out. You've reached the peak of your earnings in your particular job at this point. And to get further ahead, you need higher degrees, or you need certifications, or you need experience in a certain field. Maybe some of you haven't gone to school since the 1990s, right? And you want to make further moves that require some technical experience, some experience with IT. So you're going to go get certified in that, right? So maybe that's what you were spending your years in the bush doing, taking IT courses. Now that you've come out, it's time to get about the business of making decisions. Congratulations. Good for you. What else happens? Yes, you go. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the past, but then this feels good. I got to tell you, you're reading, what are you, the 8th? Yeah, you're the 8th sign. Libra had an interesting one. I just did them. But everybody else has had like a reading. Scorpio, congratulations. Good for you. So in the past still, I think you were super sentimental with this King of Cups energy. I feel like this is mostly you. They're like, oh, but it could be somebody else. And they like really sang it to me like, it could be somebody else. Who are you singing to me like that? Anyway, King of Cups energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. It could be you. It could be somebody else. I feel you. If it is you, you were very sentimental at the time. Oh, okay. Going back to that story of like the single parent thing. This could have been your partner, whether they're still alive or they've passed away. You know the story. You know the details. They're not really important to the reading. The fact is they're not here. And they could have been super sentimental, super sensitive. They could have been very understanding, very, very kind-hearted, right? And that applies to you too. I'm not saying you or this person walk on water. There are no angels on this earth, okay? So there are flaws to you and this person, whoever I'm talking to. It could be both of you. I don't know. But in the past, I feel there's a tendency, yes, there it is, thank you. There is a tendency for the King of Cups to sometimes get a little bit too much in the feels, become overly sentimental to the point where they become ineffective, right? So there is this heightened sensitivity possibly with this person. Again, it could be you or somebody else or the both of you. And it was sort of a detriment, right? Worrying too much, like I said before, stress and anxiety, PTSD, right? But the thing about the King of Wands, which I think is beneficial to you at this time, or was beneficial. Again, some of you might be in this energy, but a good portion of you, you've done this work already. Pardon me. So the beneficial part of him is that he's aware. He's self-aware. Like, if the King of Cups knows he's depressed, like, he doesn't pretend that he's not, or he doesn't not acknowledge that to himself. He might definitely not acknowledge it to other people. Hey, King of Cups, are you feeling down? Are you feeling blue? Are you a little depressed? He might say, no, I'm fine. On the inside, he's like, yes, I am. I all day, every day, right now, yesterday, tomorrow, and 2 days from now, I still will be depressed. Like, he knows. And I only say he because it's a king, okay? You could be a female or this could be a female and the message would be the same. But I only say he because it's a king. So there is this internal personal understanding that, yeah, not everything is as hunky-dory as it might seem to be or as I would like it to be, but I'm not gonna prevent that from stopping me. Not entirely, let's say it that way. It's not gonna stop me entirely because there still is this overriding anxiety and possible fears, possible trauma coming from the Nine of Swords. These two together equal somebody who is in the feels and for a while probably didn't do anything about it, okay? Like I said before, ignoring the intuition, ignoring any guides, ignoring possibly any type of, not diagnoses, but what do you call that? Instruction, advice from a professional, from a doctor, from a friend, from anybody. Whoo. You should be doing something. You should be taking better care of yourself. Whoo. That's the owl telling you that. Your guides, your friends, your doctor, whoever. A damn self-help book could have told you that. But there is this ignoring of it because it's like, going back up here for just a second, you see how the swords are intermingled or interwoven like that? It's almost like bars. It's almost like bars on a window. So it's like at some point, any advice that you were given, again, any intuitive hits that you had on your own, Scorpio, you ignored it. So as much as I applaud the King of Cups for being sensitive, for being aware, for having compassion for themselves and other people, and having an astuteness, a recognition of the emotion, just because you recognize something doesn't mean you're doing anything about it. Okay? That's humanity 101. This is a problem. And then nothing happens. I probably shouldn't do this anymore. Continues to do the thing that they shouldn't do anymore. Like, humans do that, period. Scorpios, a lot. I've known a couple of you guys in my life, and I've sat down in conversations with several of you guys personally, privately, all the ways, and I'm just like, okay, so what are you gonna do about that? I'm just gonna feel it. That's not what they say, but that ends up being what happens. I'm just gonna feel it. And that's part of your process. I'm not here to knock it. I'm just here to call it out. Okay, that's part of Scorpio's process, is to kind of stew in their own mess. It invigorates you in some type of way. It helps in your transformation process, because 8th house ruled by Pluto, you're one of the ultimate signs of transformation, if not the ultimate sign of transformation, right? So King of Cups knows he's going to transform. It's just like, I'm not going to do that right now. And again, some of you have already done this work and you're at this point of transformation. You're ready to act. You're ready to make decisions. Others of you, you're still there and you're working on it. Congratulations. I applaud anybody who does any work on themselves. Okay. It's hard. And I'm not a Scorpio, but I'm one of those people. Like, I talk it. I don't walk it a lot. And I'm a work in progress just like you would be. Okay. So King of Cups, anything else? Yeah. And then going back to what I said about the sentimentality of this person, it's mostly you, Scorpio, but it can be someone that you're dealing with. I don't want to make the King of Cups seem like a sad sack, because it's not that. It's not a sadness. It's not like a sad person. There's like a reverence. There you go. Reverie and reverence. Like, going back to that scenario of like not wanting to betray the memory of someone, or not feeling it's appropriate. Like, again, it doesn't have to be that the partner who was the other parent in the situation, this is just an example, was a bad person, or they're dead, or they're a scumbag, or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just, I don't want to disrespect it's like that. I don't want to disrespect my children. I don't want to disrespect my family in some senses. It could be that. That's interesting. That's popping through really quickly. It could be, in some of your cases, you could take children off the table, because there's well, maybe a little bit. There isn't much here for children. I just brought that up as an example. So let's go ahead and take that away for those who don't have kids. Let's say you are whatever faith, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, non-denominational, Seventh-day Adventist, whatever your denomination is. Let's say that's you. You might have your eye, or have had your eye, on someone that your family would disapprove of, your traditions, the convictions and the communities that you grew up in. We don't date. We don't intermingle with people like that. And you know in your heart, in your intuition, that's a bunch of malarkey. That's a bunch of bull. What? Because maybe you've met or you've interacted with people of a different faith, of a different conviction, of a different race, ethnicity, gender. Okay, that could also be here for some people, right? And other people around you have told you that's not the way, that's not correct, you're not supposed to talk to those people, you're not supposed to date them, you're not supposed to be interested in them, and you have been. There is reverence being paid, because that message could come from your parents, from your pastors, or your religious leaders. That message could come from you. You were careful with the word, but I'm gonna use it. Indoctrinated. Some of you were indoctrinated into this interesting way of thinking that a certain sector of people in this world are not worthy of your time, your effort, your energy. 6 of Pentacles. And maybe it's not even dating, because I did just reference to the Pentacles. So for some of you, this is very interesting. Like, maybe you're giving your time, your money, your energy, your effort in like a philanthropic way. Maybe you're volunteering more. Maybe that's where you went away to. Maybe that's where you went away. You went away and did some philanthropic stuff, but you were partnered with an organization that people back home are like, well, what'd you go and do that for? Or why are you working with these people? Why are you working? That's weird, but I'm gonna say it because it's kind of interesting that people still have these views, but they do. You could have volunteered for a program, a nonprofit. You could have taken a job with a nonprofit that reaches out to help with people who have HIV and AIDS. And there are some people where you come from. I don't care where it is in the world. I don't care, what the makeup of the people are back home, who are just basically like, why would you do that work? That's not on. That's not cool. Those people don't need help in those ways. They need XYZ, and you can fill in your blanks, and you know what I mean? So it's like you're doing a good thing as the King of Cups. You're trying to be a shepherd of a certain god, or a shepherd of a certain life philosophy. And in your efforts to help others, people criticize you for doing it. It's strange. So I've given you plenty of examples. This person is sentimental. They have good intentions, but they're also plagued by anxiety, worry, PTSD, past traumas. They don't want to be offensive to other people or connections around them that for the most part have been good to them. I feel like the King of Cups is worried about being disrespectful to other people, when really that shouldn't be the viewpoint. But that's me, the outsider, reading these cards. All right. Now, what else happens with you? So okay. I feel for most of you, this is in the past, or you're working on it now. What's upcoming? Good. The Chariot. Major arcana for Cancer. You could be dealing with a Cancer, but you don't have to be. So you make the decision, well, here we go. You see the road that we were talking about in the Two of Wands? You see the road. You make a decision. Here's the vehicle. Here's the delivery system, or the way in which you're going to travel down whatever path you choose, the Chariot. It does speak to, again, actual physical movement. For some of you, you guys are going somewhere. Where are you going? Have fun. I hope it's a good time. Or I hope you travel safely, right? Be careful out there, right? So I do sense a lot of you are going to be physically changing homes, jobs, careers, moving literally from one country to another. And what I like about it is you feel guided. Finally. Ooh, finally. They're letting me know. Finally, you feel guided. Finally, you feel assured, confident, pretty proud of yourself for coming to a decision, or taking this action after you've made a decision. You know what I mean? I feel some of you are thankful to the work that you've done with a particular person. Like, again, it could be like a guide, a spiritual guide, an actual guide in the 3D, like a doctor, a therapist, a counselor, could be a friend. I feel that you're very grateful towards all the stuff that we were talking about earlier between the Nine of Swords and the King of Cups. Some of you, and it doesn't have to be a partner who's not with you anymore, but I feel like you get a blessing. Like, some of you were seeking a blessing. Some of you were seeking the approval or the okay of another person. Maybe you talk to your kids and you're like, I think I like this person. Do you like them? And your kids are like, of course, daddy. Of course, mommy. I just want to see you happy. Something like that. And you're like relieved. You're like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. And it's so interesting. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I don't understand the vibe. I mean, I do to a certain extent, but I can't subjectively understand it. I've seen it in action. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And it's important to parents. I get it, to introduce a new adult into your children's life. I get it. But anyway, you feel relieved. You feel like, oh, thank you, little Billy, or thank you, little Rashawn, or Giselle, whatever the kid's name is. Thank you so much for approving of this person, because I like them too, right? So it's like, at some point you feel confident and you feel affirmed in the decisions that you're making and the move that you're making. Like, emphasis on this move. It could be that. It doesn't even have to be a person. Again, you could go to your kids. Where do you want to live? Which house do you like better? I like that one. And you're like, okay, cool. I like that one too. And I mean, it's not like the kid is making the decision. It's more like whoever you're, some of you it's a kid, some of you it's like another adult. So like a partner of yours or a friend or a colleague or something like that. You want to be in, there we go. Thank you. You want to, yes! I'm like, where's this word coming from? You want to be in harmony with the people or the person, however many, whoever it is. You want to be in harmony with that person based on the decisions you make. You want your decisions to be okay with them. Again, in harmony. Why did I get excited? Yes! Or whatever I said. Is because you see the sphinxes there. Traditionally, one of the interpretations or ways that we read the chariot is like, these are two separate beasts, two separate animals. You'll see horses or oxen in other cards, and they need to be in lockstep with one another. If one of them decides to go left and the other one decides to go to the right, this chariot is going to have an accident. They have to move in sync with one another. So that's what you're seeking, to be in sync with other people in your life. Your children, your parents, your partner, your best friend. I don't care who it is. And if there's nobody else, you just want to be in sync in your own mind. You want to have it set up in your mind that definitively, Scorpio, I'm choosing to go this way. No other second guesses, no self-doubt. Perfect. Great. Do that shit. I'm here for it. I love it. I get so excited when people have good readings. Like, interesting readings are great and they're fun to do, but when it's good, when I feel the progression, my gosh, it's amazing. You guys are progressing in such a way that I think number one, a lot of people don't know, as per. It's just between you and me, Scorpio. You and I are the only ones who know this, right? So I don't know that everybody in your life is aware of all this stuff, but it's come out in this reading. I've been doing readings for all the signs, but you guys consistently, or I should say regularly, do things that other people don't know about. I feel like I get like this like insider information. It's so exciting for me as a reader, because, and you're not the only sign that has ever had progress come up in a reading, but it feels really good because whatever was going on back here, and again, some of you knew this point was coming, or you knew you would have to make a decision, so you went back and did the work. That's excellent. Instead of driving forward and making decisions that you may or may not regret, you took your time to think about it. That's great. That's great. I love that. Last card in your main spread, Three of Cups. Maybe this is me. Maybe this is me celebrating on your behalf, right? Popping the champagne, setting up fireworks out. Let's all cheers a toast to Scorpio Collective for finally getting something that they want. And again, I said that word earlier. Where did I say that? Was it here? It was somewhere. I used the word finally. A lot of you are feeling this way. Finally, you have something to celebrate. Finally, you have a reason to put a smile on your face. Finally, you have possibly people in your life to celebrate with. Maybe where you're living now or where you were living before, it was hard for you to make contacts. It was hard for you to make friends. Maybe you moved away from home and maybe you go back home. Like, that happens a lot. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to return to your hometown. But some of you, took a stab at it. You moved away from home, not your parents' home, but like your hometown, where like maybe you knew a lot of people, maybe you come from a small town and everybody knew your name and it was friendly and all that kind of stuff, and you took a stab and you tried to live in the big city. And it turns out for a lot of people, the big city's not where it's at. A lot of people leave the small towns and they're happy. A lot of people leave small towns and they're like, damn, I don't really like the city. If you're going back home or going back to that small town vibe and that's where you thrive, congratulations. Like, it's not I don't know who I have to tell this to. It's not automatic that everybody who has big dreams can only have their big dreams in the big city. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I feel you have reason to celebrate. I feel that you feel not vindicated. Maybe you feel that you've proved something, maybe to yourself, maybe to other people. Okay. To go back to what I just said about this big town versus small town, or big city versus small town, right? Maybe some of you do leave the small town, and that feeling of connectivity you actually are able to find in the big city, right? Maybe the small town Because, that's also kind of one of the cliched things about small town living is not only is everybody knowing your name, they also know your business. And you can't really, quote unquote, be yourself, or you can't do one thing without being seen as like the most horrible person in town. Like you're some type of outcast if you do anything that isn't conventional. Kind of going back to that idea that I had earlier come through about like religious upbringings or conservative upbringings or whatever, right? You go and you start living in a bigger city, which tend to be more liberal, okay, or whatever, because there are pockets of conservative. For those who don't know, as a big city person, I will tell you there are tons of conservative people within big cities. Just so you know, it's not it's not like what people want to tell you that all big cities are full of liberals and everybody's like running around like a second wave of hippies. No. Okay. So it's not about that. It's not any political thing, but I feel like for some of you going to the big city, you actually find the community that you've been searching for possibly your whole life or in your most recent part or chapter of your life. Yeah. So reason to celebrate. Halloween's coming up. Maybe some of you, again, it's your birthday, so that could be why you're turning up. That could be your favorite holiday, whatever it is. So I do get the sense of camaraderie. I do get the sense of coming together with people that, in some of your cases, like, you've known these people, but you don't know them. Like maybe, again, with this moving thing, like maybe you're, again, moving to another country and maybe you're going there for a job and maybe you've been doing online training, online courses. Maybe you've met your new coworkers and you've been doing online Zoom meetings and stuff like that with your new employees in Norway. 2 months from now, you arrive in Norway and they throw you a welcome party, something like that. Does that make sense? So eventually, Scorpio, this is going the way it's supposed to. What the hell was that? Supposed to. Supposed to. For you. It feels very like you become unbridled. Chariots, like horses, unbridled. You become freer. You become lighter in your energy. And I think a lot of it you were stuck in because of this Nine of Swords and that King of Cups a little bit. For some reason, some of you were like not thinking this moment would ever come or you would ever be able to follow through with something, but you are. Good for you. Outcome. Excuse me. For October. 10 of Wands and the World. So listen, friends. I got 4 more readings to go, but I gotta tell you, this is probably one of the better readings I've done for the month so far. 10 of Wands, burdens, world, endings. End to burdens. 10 of Wands, you were carrying stress, you were carrying worry, you were carrying a lot of responsibilities, possibly self-induced, possibly more than you needed because you were trying to help other people out, because you were trying to be a good person, because you were trying to impress people, or because you didn't want to prioritize yourself, so you put other people's needs before your own. Whatever reasons, whatever you were doing, you're not going to do that anymore. And I think you did it for a time because you felt it was the right thing to do. You felt comfortable, many of you, at the time when you initially agreed to do things and you initially put yourself in situations or endured situations. You didn't mind. But listen, think of it like a workout. If you do like an endurance workout, like let's say you do like some circuit training with like heavy lifting of weights. I don't know if I'm sure many of you do this, like high intensity training, right? High intensity interval training, I think is how you're supposed to say it. And in the beginning, when the instructor or you are going to do deadlifts and you're lifting up, 150 pounds, 200 pounds, the first couple of reps, no big deal. After 4 or 5 sets of that shit, you're tired. So the initial agreeing that you did to carry the burdens that you imposed on yourself or other people asked you to do or you volunteered to do or you felt obligated to do, whatever. In the beginning, it's fine. It's like, if someone says to you, hey, Scorpio, can you carry 2 of these wands? Okay, sure, I'll carry 2. And then they come back. Actually, I want to add 3 to your stack. Okay, sure. Okay, I'll carry 5 wands. No big deal. And they keep coming back, or the circumstances around you keep loading more and more wands onto your back. Eventually you're carrying 10 of these bitches. That's tiresome, it's burdensome, and you're not going to do it anymore. Or this is the end of that. Congratulations. Again, good for you. The World card. Chapter endings, cycle endings, growth. Not growth in like a Jupiterian? I don't know how you would say that, but a way like Jupiter would be. Growth as in like lessons, like congratulations, you've graduated. Something like that. Like you're moving up a level. You know what I mean? Or you're ascending in some type of way, or you're leaving behind these burdens, having learned what some type of lesson that you can carry with you in the future. So you see how he's carrying that on his back? Maybe this is the first time you've ever taken on such responsibility or such weight in your life, right? In whatever realm we're talking about, personal life, your business life, your romantic life, whatever. You've never done this way before, but because now you've learned, okay, if I'm going to carry 10 wands again, you could be saying if you're this guy, instead of carrying it on my back, next time I'm going to use a fucking wheelbarrow. You know what I mean? So you have taken observation, taken notes on what you've experienced as of late, and I don't think that you're coming out and saying, never again, I'm never going to burden myself again. It's more, if I'm going to burden myself, I'm going to be smart about it. If I'm going to burden myself, I'm not going to burden myself to the point of carrying 10 wands. I'm going to cap it at 7. And someone comes to you, hey, could you carry an 8th wand? You're like, no, ma'am, I can't. No, sir, I cannot. It's 7 or less, because 10 is too much. So you've learned your boundaries, or you've learned your limitations in some form or fashion. And the world is sort of like a graduation ceremony or something. And I said that earlier. Some of you might be going back to school, getting certified in something, so that you can go on to bigger and better things in your career. So some of you are literally graduating. It's been a struggle. If you've been out of school for like 15, 20 years and you go back to school, maybe you have a full-time job, maybe you do have kids, maybe you have another side gig on top of your primary job, but you made it work. Yeah! You made it work. Go ahead, and a 6 of swords behind it. Come on. Come on, Tarot. Damn. Scorpio, congratulations again. 10 of Pentacles is your overall energy. So you're becoming enriched. Maybe literally with money. Literally, that job in Norway is a huge uptick in your salary. And that could have been why you were like so worried about making the decision. I'm going to change my life forever based on this. The salary is nothing to shake a stick at, but I'm going to be moving to a country where I don't know anyone. I don't know the language. I don't know the customs. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Here I come, Norway. Boom. You did that knowing the long-term value of the job in terms of money, the job in terms of enriching your resume, making you more of a viable candidate if you were to leave that job and go elsewhere after a certain time. There's more ability to climb the ladder in this new corporation, whatever. If it's not about a job, again, going back to this whole do you approve of the house thing, talking to your children, do you want to move here? Do you want to move here? Or do you want to move here? Do you want to move there? The kid and you would decide, we want to go over there. Boom! The kid goes into a new school. They love it. The neighborhood is great. It might be that one. You choose the one with the great walking thing, the great walk score. The schools are great for the kids. Da-da-da-da-da. You like the local grocery store. You like the local community. But that long-ass commute, though, still okay. The kid is happy. Financially, you're sound. The shitty part is you got to drive an extra 50 minutes to work, or an extra 30 minutes, or whatever the hell I said earlier, right? So whatever you decide, you are doing it because of the long-term gain, the long-term stability, the long-term enrichment in your life, either literally with cash, extra, sign-on bonuses and all that good stuff, or enriching your relations, enriching your connections with people. Again, going back to the whole thing with the kids, you maybe have been raising your kid solo dolo 10 years, maybe 6 years, 6 of swords, whatever. And now after that long time of being single, your kids are older, maybe they understand things more, and you trust them. You're like, okay, so I want to start dating somebody. Would you be cool with that? And they're like, Mom, Dad, I don't care. They're like, 14 by now, and they're just like, you can do whatever you want, I don't care. I'm playing Fortnite. That's all kids do these days, right? And they don't care. And so it just works. It just works. Six of Swords behind that, that's another sign or another card of movement, of progression in your life. Congratulations. Again. Scorpio, that is your reading for October. If you liked it, like buttons down below. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how this resonated in your life. That'd be super. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and share the video, friends, if you think other people would like what the message was here today. Scorpio, I will be back soon with the mid-October readings. Later in the month, I'm going to bring you your birthday season reading on the first day of your season, which I think is, the 23rd, right? October 23rd. Look out for that. If you want to get at me for a personal reading, you can find that information down in the description box below, okay? Scorpio, I thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Bye.